I'm going to make a start on the webinar this morning. Just to give you a quick introduction, my name is Claire Collins and I'm Senior Products and Services Manager here at WISE. And just to prove that you are actually talking to a real person, I am going to turn on my webcam so you can see me. Just to say good morning, welcome to the webinar. Just to start with, we're going to have a few quick housekeeping tips. So as we go through the webinar, you're going to find that there is a box on the right hand side where you can ask any questions. If you've got any questions for us as we go along, please just enter them in this box and we'll monitor those and we'll have a look at those at the end. You'll be on mute for the session, so you won't be able to talk to us, I'm afraid, but as I say, make any questions in there. To help us, if you can shut down any applications and browsers, that helps the system to run smoothly. And other than that, I hope that you find something really useful in this webinar and enjoy it. So I'm going to turn my webinar off now. Sorry, go turn off my camera. Gives me a bit of a freak out when I can see myself all the time. Okay, so this is an introduction to the WISE 10 Steps workshop today. I'm assuming that having joined this webinar, you are aware of what WISE is and what WISE do. But just as a quick recap, it's worth telling you a little bit about WISE. So WISE is a membership organisation. We provide B2B networking and services, and we work with a wide range of people from large corporate members all the way through to schools, and we promote everything that is, we try to do everything we can to promote women in the workspace and to improve their opportunities and their promotion prospects in companies. Our overall aim is to increase the number of girls and women into STEM career. We have a wide range of members, right away from academic members through we have a large number of engineering firms who are members of WISE, but we also have a lot of members in technology, telecoms, pharmaceuticals. There's a wide range of industries, and this really helps with areas like the 10 steps because you can share experiences and best practices across a wide range of sectors. So there is another webinar available on our website which introduces the 10 steps. Today we're going to mainly concentrate on the 10 steps workshop, but I will very quickly recap on what the 10 steps are. So the 10 steps, I'm hoping you will understand or have heard of before, the business case for diversity. If you haven't, our other webinar on the website does go into much more detail on this. And we talk about all the reasons why you would want to have a diverse workforce. We give you lots of opportunities to sort of explore the different problems that stereotypes and problems in recruiting can have in a workspace. And we talk about the opportunities for having a diverse workforce and what that brings to your organisation. So skilled workers, a better platform for innovation, better customer experience, a better opportunity to get a wide range of experiences. And overall, crucially, it's not just about a nice thing to do or the right thing to do. Gender diversity and diversity generally will drive financial improvements in your organisation. So we have a large section of our website is dedicated to the business case for diversity. So bottom of this page shows you the link. Please do go onto that link and go and have a look if you've got any questions or you want to know more about the business case for diversity. The WISE 10 steps, again, we've done a webinar recently, it was back in April or May, and we went into great detail on what the WISE 10 steps were. And we talked about the 10 steps themselves and the fact that they support the attraction, progression and retention of a diverse STEM workforce. So each of the 10 steps are specifically aimed, they're actionable steps aimed at improving and driving company performance. And these 10 steps are all steps that are very practical, and they've actually come from leaders in the industry. So these are very practical steps that you can take to improve the diversity across your workforce and in your organization. And if you'd like more information on our 10 steps program more generally, then please do go onto the WISE website, and if you search for Introduction to Cultural Change, that you'll find our previous webinar, which talks about the business case, talks about 10 steps, and introduces the WISE 10 steps generally in the framework. But today, this talks about the 10 steps. So signatories make a public commitment to improve conditions for women working in STEM, and they convert their commitment into practical action. And importantly, 10 steps means that companies will improve and share best practice and help to participate in the annual benchmarking survey. These are our 10-step signatories. So as you can see, we have a wide range of very high-profile companies who've signed up as 10-step signatories, and all of these companies participate in the 10 steps. They use the 10 steps in some way in their organization, and they are the people who we get our best practices and our case studies from. So we can give examples of what all of these huge firms are doing in diversity in a wide range of sectors to try and get more information about diversity and improve diversity generally across the board. So today we're going to talk about the 10 steps workshop, and the 10 steps workshop starts with the diagnostic. So a company diagnostic is undertaken over a period of time, however long you need to take it. So most companies will send it out over a period of 2 or 3 weeks. And we recommend that you send this diagnostic out to a range of people who have a understanding of diversity and inclusion, who understand the initiatives that are in your organization, but offer a broad perspective and a broad range of insight into the diversity initiatives that you run within your organization. And this diagnostic has 50 questions. So it's 5 questions on each of the steps. And so just as a starting point here, you can see the first questions understand the starting point so you can monitor progress. Has your commitment to the 10 steps been widely communicated? And you answer between the range of 0 to 2. And those answers then, so the maximum score on each step for each of those 5 questions is 10. And out of those 10 points, you will obviously score a range between hopefully between 1 and 10 minimum, but theoretically between 0 and 10. And it offers companies the opportunity to assess the impact of these internal projects. So you can have a look at these questions are specifically chosen to help companies have a specific idea of what they should be doing in each of those 10 steps and moving through with all of these new initiatives. And so it really gives you a great grounding and a great principle on where to start thinking about each of the different 10 steps. So as I've already said, we recommend that for the best results, the diagnostic is shared among several people, and those results are collated and averaged before being reported. So here you see an example, anonymized, of a company that's done the 10 steps diagnostic, and they have asked, in this case, 21 people. It doesn't have to be that many. Sometimes it's only 2 or 3, sometimes it's up to 20 or even more we've had in the past. And they ask those people to fill in the diagnostic. Each one of them does it individually and independently of the others, so that you get a good representative result. And then you go through and you take a mean of all of those results. And as you can see here, this organisation has asked for the gender, the location, and the department of each of the respondees. And so they managed to break it down in different ways and get a lot more information out of the one diagnostic. And from those results, you end up with this averaged collated response, and you get a response across the 10 steps. So how well are you doing in each of these 10 steps on average between all of these attendees? And these results show, for example, this organisation doesn't do so well in understanding the starting point, but they are doing very well in changing mindsets. And then we look at ranking those 10 steps. So for example, here, as we've already said, understanding the starting point is the lowest score for this organization, and changing mindsets is the highest score for them. And so you get an idea of where your company does really well and where it may not be doing so well and may need some help or may need some new ideas and guidance on initiatives. And as we've taken the location, the gender, and the department data in this particular data set, you can also split the results out by those results as well. So you can look at whether you have different results coming in from different parts of the organization. How well does location 1 see the results and see how well your diversity initiatives are being communicated compared to, say, location 2 or location 3. And you can see here that, for example, location 1, they don't have a particularly optimistic view of some of the steps, and they have very different and differing views in some of those steps, and compared to other locations. And this gives you the opportunity to ask, is this because only a few people took part in the diagnostic at location 1? Do you need some more people to take part in that diagnostic there? Or is it because there are actually really some issues in location 1? Is there a reason why these diversity initiatives are not working there? Is there something that can be done in those areas? And it gives you guidance as to where you can go and have a look at the variation in results. Again, if you split out by department, here we can see that the engineering, HR, and R&D department have very different results and different ideas in demonstrating they wish to retain and develop their employees. HR think they're doing a fantastic job, but engineering and R&D disagree to some extent. And so you can actually look at these results. Again, are there issues? Is there a miscommunication, which is most often the case? Is there a lack of communication? Why are we seeing these different results in these different areas? And then again, female and male, and again, you could split these results really any way you wish, as long as you don't change the anonymity of the response. And you can look here at the responses and the changes between the male and females in the organization. So the WISE 10 Steps workshop is a bespoke intervention for our WISE members and our 10-step signatories. And we have a 4-hour workshop. And during that 4-hour workshop, we work with representatives in the organisation, your organisation, to look over your diagnostic results in detail. So it's effectively a consultation process, and you work together with WISE to look at your diagnostic analysis. We look at how well you benchmark against the signatory data, and I'll be talking about the signatory data as a whole and the measuring progress event a little bit later. We look at case studies and best practices from all of these many firms that have signed up as signatories and all the other best practices that we've gathered from other places. And at the end of that workshop, at the end of those 4 hours, we create a personalised diversity plan and aims and goals for your organisation to improve your diversity effort in a variety of different ways and across these different steps, specifically focusing on the steps in which your company may not be doing so well or may require a little bit of additional help to get things moving again. So the important thing for a 10 Steps workshop is always to give your diagnostic some context. If you analyse the diagnostic in isolation, it gives you a certain amount of results. Here you can look at which areas this company is doing well in, developing women, retaining and developing them, but they don't do so well in the starting point, and they're not so good in creative job design. And that diagnostic in isolation works very well to give an independent view of how well that company is doing in those 10 steps. What we can do, though, is we can compare with other companies who have completed the 10 Steps diagnostic in our Measuring Progress event, and we can compare on how well your organisation is doing in relation to our signatory data. And this is fantastic because it gives your diagnostic that context in more of a wider, broader space. You're looking at comparing yourself to firms who are your competitors, who work in a totally different workspace from you, and you're thinking about how well you're doing in relation to those other organizations. Is there somewhere that other organizations do very well on average that your company is not doing so well in? And as if you look down here at these results, it becomes clear that this organization is not doing very well in understanding the starting point, But when you look at the average diagnostics from companies who take part in our Measuring Progress event, so this is on average about 30 companies who take part in this each year. And when you look at that result and that average result, you can see that many companies understand that starting point very well. They feel they have the data and the resources to do very well in that step. And so that gives you an opportunity to identify the areas in which your organization can make some changes to improve their diversity efforts and to improve their best practices and to make a change and start learning from those other organizations. The whole point of 10 steps is about learning from other organizations, passing on those little tips and tricks and helpful hints that really help to move your efforts along. And so you look in relationship between the signatories and the company, and that then gives you a variety of steps which you can then concentrate on. So here you would say, well, the company is not doing so well in understanding the starting point, but signatories do very well in it. You could look at being creative in job design, because again, that's a rather low score. You could look at increasing the transparency of opportunities for progression. You might choose to concentrate on a step that is a totally different, maybe you get a good score in, but you have different, or you have some ideas on how you'd like to move ahead, and you'd just like a bit of a sounding board to see whether we have anything that can help you in that area. And so for a 10 steps workshop, we do the diagnostic in advance, we compare it to the signatories, then we choose the steps that we're going to look at. And this is where we spend the majority of our time in a 10 steps workshop. The majority of the time in 10 steps workshop is spent looking at other best practice opportunities, looking at other case studies, looking at what other companies have done, and giving you pointers and advice on where other companies are doing really well and have some really good ideas. How could that be applied to your firm? You know, how could we take what they've done and change it or manipulate it so that you can then achieve the same results in your organization? And we have a wide range of case studies, best practices, ideas, and we have a lot of experience in talking to all our organizations about what those best practice opportunities are. And in a 10 steps workshop, we have the time and the opportunity to sit down and talk through all of those different options and opportunities with that company specifically, and we come out with a specific, bespoke, diversity improvement plan. And so at the end of the workshop, we talk about what could be the quick wins for the company based on what we've talked about. How could you change your strategy? How could you move ahead? What are your medium-term goals? What would you like to achieve in a few months? What are your longer-term aims? Do you have something you'd like to achieve next year? Do you have a target that you'd like to get to? What can you do to change and move ahead towards that target? And we go through and talk about priorities, stakeholders, who's going to take charge of these projects and move them forward. Ideally, we want to have some names against this plan at the end of the day. We want a timeline. When's it going to be reviewed by your diversity and diversity and inclusion committee? When are you going to have a target set in place? Who's going to be your senior sponsor for all of this? How are you going to move your diversity aims and targets and achieve something at the end of the year that you haven't managed to achieve before? That's the whole point of the 10 steps workshop, that we give you these ideas and we come up with a bespoke plan to help you and your organization. And at the end of the workshop, we create a 10 steps workshop summary report, summarizes the whole workshop. So you'll talk about your results, how you compare to signatories. We talk about the best practices. We talk about the discussion we had and we summarize that. We put down those action plans and those points for how to move forward. And 6 weeks after the workshop, we recommend that everybody who holds a workshop has a follow-up call with WISE and everyone else involved in the workshop. And then you talk through with a little bit of time after the workshop. It's a good opportunity to sit and digest what happened in that space, in that workshop, and to think about how and where you would like to move forward. How could WISE help you? Could we offer some training? Can we offer some advice, support? Can we put you in contact with a company that may have done these different projects and programs in the past? And so we can provide assistance and give some clarity on the ways forward. And as I say, you know, doing it 6 to 8 weeks after the workshop gives everybody a little bit of time to reflect on how well the workshop's gone and any other questions that come up. Everyone always has questions after you've left it a few weeks. So I've talked a bit about the signatory data in this diagnostic so far. So we have what we call the 10 steps measuring progress event each year. And we invite all of our 10 step signatories to submit a diagnostic. So the same diagnostic I've just shown you for this annual benchmarking meeting. And so companies go through and we have an annual meeting. We ask all of our signatories to submit a diagnostic. And from that, we create a amalgamated data set. And that means that we can actually look at how well a certain sector is doing in the 10 steps. How well, you know, is there a particular sector that does particularly well in one step? How well do the signatories compare? Generally, we looked at in the last couple of years, we've looked at the gender pay gap. Does the gender pay gap have an impact on the diversity efforts within the organisation? We have various speakers come along to each of the events to give little speeches and little talks about what they've been doing in their organisation and to give some ideas on what could be done in future to help out on the 10 steps. So best practice really for the knowledge sharing. And crucially, unfortunately not going to be in person this year, but we have networking opportunities as well. So when the event is held in person, it's a fantastic opportunity to come along and meet, you know, other really enthusiastic people working in the D&I space who have some fantastic knowledge between them and want to share that information. And you're all working towards the same goal with the same criteria, and the 10 steps gives you that common base on which you can talk about how to improve. And so this year with our meeting, it's going to be held online, but we will still try to get that networking element in there. It's just so important to come along and talk to people, other people who are working in that area, have an idea of the issues and the problems behind moving a diversity and inclusion programme forward. So signatory benchmarking, this is our data set from last year, anonymized, because otherwise we'd have certain companies on our necks. And so you can see here what we've done is we've taken each of these scores from each of the organisations. And again, bear in mind that many of those will have been organisations that will have gone out to 2, 3, 10 people to complete this questionnaire. You get these amalgamated data sets, and we can give these diagnostic scores a ranking. And we can effectively anonymously again rank these organisations from 1 to however many have taken place. And at the actual event, we give your company your diagnostic results back to you, and it effectively enables you to see where you sit in this ranking anonymously. So you don't know where anybody else is, but you know where you are, and you know how you compare to other people in the sector and in other organizations. And then what's really interesting is we can rank our 10 steps. So if you look at these results, you'll see that the top results, so for example, here, starting point. So the starting point step is one which a lot of organizations do quite well on. And so when you look at the ranking, you wouldn't be surprised to see that this is up high in our diagnostic rankings. And actually the top 4 don't change very much year on year. You do have some anomalies sometimes where you see a change in what's happening. So being creative and job design fell last couple of years ago. And so it's just really interesting to look at ranking and see where these different organizations do. But crucially, what this also allows you to do is, again, if your company is not doing well in making flexible working a reality for all, is there something you can learn from this event? Is there some information or some best practice that you can get to help you over that little hump and try and smooth your path? And with all the case studies and the best practices that we've got, I'm sure there's something out there for everybody to try and improve and help. And what's really nice to see is we've looked at these are 8 signatories. who've taken part in the Measuring Progress Again event each year, the same 8 signatories. And what we've done is we've actually taken the average scores of those signatories and looked at them year on year. So does the 10 steps show that these companies are making a progress in their diversity efforts? And the results are really, really, very positive. They clearly show that all of the organizations that have submitted, these 8 companies that have submitted year on year, taken the 10 steps seriously, really set it up as a key benchmarking program for their organization, show an improvement. They show a definite improvement from 2016 to 2019. And it's with some excitement we're really hoping to see what happens in 2020. Can we see that increase again in 2020? On average, if you look at the actual company and the scores of the company diagnostic scores, they actually show an average increase of 30% in their diagnostic score across those 4 years if you look at each company individually. And that's just so good to see. It shows that 10 steps and the principles behind 10 steps are working for these organizations that sign up and use it as a benchmarking tool and as best practice framework. So really a call to ask how you can get involved. Best way to get involved, find out more, is come along to our Measuring Progress event this year. So if you're a member of WISE, it's free to attend. It's being held on Thursday, the 15th of October 2020. As I said, it's an online event from 9:30 till 12:30 in the morning. We're going to be setting up networking. We're going to have some breakout rooms so that people can talk to each other about their results and any areas they may be struggling in this year. If you'd like to sign up, the link is on this page. If you go onto our website and you search for the Measuring Progress event, the 10 steps Measuring Progress event, you'll be taken through to the registration page. And if you've got any problems, just contact your partnership manager and they'll be able to give you details on the event. The next call to action is become a 10-step signatory. Talk to your WISE partnership manager about how you can become a 10-step signatory. It's just so important that we get more and more companies joining us in these efforts and becoming signatories, that we can share more and more best practices and case studies. The more people we have involved, the better chances we have of having real data and real results that bring practical actions that other companies can take. Finally, book your 10 Steps workshop. So the 10 Steps workshop is available to all WISE members, and our premium strategic partners get a free workshop each year. There's a small fee for core members and online members. If you're interested in the 10 Steps workshop, then talk to your WISE partnership manager for available dates and to book your workshop, and they can give you any more information. The development team, of which I'm part, is very, very happy at any time to talk through how we can help you on these workshops and what we can do to help you in your 10 steps journey. As I've already said, we have lots of best practice on our website. We have some fantastic write-ups from our knowledge sharing events. We've focused on returners and retrainers in the last year. We've focused on diversity, in gender pay gap reporting. We had a report looking at why women entrepreneurs become innovators. We had another report looking at innovation. We've got so much research, so many case studies and best practices. I really strongly urge you, if you haven't already, go onto our website. It's constantly being updated. We're making a big push this year to put new information on it. So please do go on and keep an eye on it for new data and new reports each time. Finally, I've got the question and answer. So it's been a bit of a rushed journey through this webinar. I could talk for hours, as you can imagine, about this. So just really now to ask if there's any questions from anybody. If anyone's got any questions, please do put them into the box. Okay, so the first question I've got here is there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of steps in the 10 steps network framework. So do I have to do them all at the same time? And the answer is no. No, you really don't have to do them all. You choose the steps that give you the results that will give you the results in the best possible way that you want to work on. So if you only want to focus, or you feel you only have the resources to focus on 1 or 2 steps at a time, the 10 steps is not a it's not a what's the word, can't think of it. It's not moderated in any way. Effectively, it is a framework that you set up and you do in your own time and at the speed you wish to do. We deal with large organisations, small organisations, and we just don't. We strongly recommend that you choose the steps that are of most use to your organisation. There's no point in trying to change everything when you haven't got the resources. So choose your steps carefully. We can help you to look at those steps and help you to work out which ones will work best for you in that time frame. It's not a mandated framework by any means. It is very flexible. It allows you, it's just these 10 steps are the best steps to try and help you improve your diversity across, and cultural change, and to improve cultural change generally across your organization. So no need to concentrate on anything at the one time. There's another question here about how do we come to a score of 2 digits behind the comma. So I'm assuming that's asking about the diagnostic results. So when we look at the diagnostic results, because we have 5 questions and we're taking an average of them, and we can take an average across a wide number of people, we end up often with some rather strange digits, and just it's because it's an average of a number of results. It's not the median or the mode. It is an average of those results. If you were to take a median or mode, you obviously wouldn't get those decimal points on the results. If anybody else has got any questions, please do keep sending them in. Okay, one more. So how much time do you need to set up a workshop? So we recommend 6 to 8 weeks across the workshop. So we recommend about 8 weeks, so you've got time to send the questionnaire out to a range of people in a range of different areas. Not everybody's always concentrating on D&I, and so you may want to sort of to ask questions of engineers and other people who are working on the shop floor, etc. So it's a case of sending those diagnostics out, having time, giving time for people to think about it and come back with their results and their answers, and offering them the opportunity to really think about what's going on. If you rush things, you're not going to get good results. So we recommend giving at least 4 weeks for results to come in from the diagnostic. Then we at WISE require a couple of weeks minimum to look at those results and to come up with the actual workshop and to consult with the company and organisation as to what they wish to do, which steps we're going to concentrate on and look at, and then we then hold the workshop. So we'd set a date and invite everybody who needs to be invited from the organisation. We normally recommend 12 to 15 people in a workshop when we hold it online. You can have a few more if you meet face to face. Unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to happen for some time. So 12 to 15 people on the workshop. They can very effectively be done online. It's not an issue at all to do them online. So just, don't worry about that. And then when we've held the workshop, we ask for around about a month or so to write up the report, and then we hold our meeting 6 weeks after that report gets sent out. So in total, probably about 3 months to go from beginning to end of the whole process. Okay, so I haven't got any more questions, and I desperately need a cup of tea. So I think I'm going to thank you very much all for your time and attention. I really do appreciate it, and I hope this has been useful for you. We have recorded it, so it will be going live on our website shortly. So if you would like to share it with any colleagues, or you have any questions following the event, please do get in contact with your partnership manager And crucially, can I just make a final push for everybody to try and attend the Measuring Progress event? It's such a great opportunity to talk to other organisations, to find out more about what's the latest in diversity and inclusion, and to listen to some of the people who, who give really good results in the 10 steps and been using it for a number of years. So please do go online and register for that. And other than that, I'm going to say thank you very much for your time, and I'll leave you there.